I was born in Graz, Austria, in 1913.
Don't forget your name.
And my name is Eric Gottlieb. And from then on, I went to Volksschule and further on to Bürgerschule, and then got my more education. And then was I of age, I was offered the job at General Motors, which I took.
Okay.
I beg your pardon?
You had a good use.
Yes.
You played, you were active, you were in... No?
Talk to the phone. Talk to the machine.
He loved to skis. He was very active in sports. He held a championship of lightweight.
Wow. I would like to know
What
some
is it?
details about your
Lightweight.
childhood.
In wrestling.
In wrestling.
Oh. What weight were you in wrestling?
Lightweight.
Lightweight.
Lightweight, yes. And I did...
You helped your mother in the store.
Then I, as far as sport goes, I got the Austrian Sportabzeichen.
Wow.
That is...
You were a real athlete.
Yeah, I can show you the booklet.
Or I could give you this chair if you want it.
Then...
Hey, good move.
I helped my mother in her
I could give you another one.
store. She had Geflügelgeschäft.
That's good.
Wie ist Geflügel?
Poultry.
That's good.
She had a poultry store, primarily goose, which she imported from Hungary.
Your father.
And my dad had the store, and I tried to help both sides. I was helping. The dad had a store where they had Kassen. Furnishing. Office furniture, mostly. And what they call safe Kassen for depositing valuable parts you locked up.
Okay.
And afterwards, I got a job. I started as a...
You left Austria.
Left Austria and went to
skis
to Switzerland. And from Switzerland, then
over the Alps.
Over the Alps.
Your knapsack.
Well, this is before the war.
Yeah, in 37,
37.
38.
So the family life before the war
was a good one.
in Austria.
In Austria. And then I, of course...
You had a good time also.
I had a good time also. And I traveled.
Dancing, you went to with the bikes.
I went with the bike to Hungary because my mother was Hungarian. And they had a nice place there in Hungary where I went in summer always for vacation. And then in the end, I went to Switzerland and then came home. In the meantime, of course, Austria was occupied by the Nazis, and I left then.
Your father was in Dachau.
My dad was in Dachau, and I left Austria.
Your mother left Austria for China.
For China.
Because to get your dad out from the concentration camp.
Okay, you do take over.
Right?
Yes.
You left and you met your parents in China.
In China, yes.
So he went to, left Austria to go to China. Who went with you? What family members?
No.
No?
You left Austria to Switzerland.
To Switzerland.
We were in Switzerland in the camp.
Yeah.
And left a year later because your parents were in China.
China.
You met up with your parents in Shanghai.
So the parents left first?
Dad was in a concentration camp. My father-in-law was in a concentration camp.
Was he Jewish?
Of course.
Yeah.
We are only Jews and real Jews.
Okay.
I mean, all the way.
Well, so other people were also...
No, they were very good Jews. And my mother-in-law bought a ticket, and with this ticket to go to China, and with this she got my father-in-law out from the concentration camp. And in the first years, if you had to show that you would leave the country, they would let you out of the concentration camp.
Mother had the kosher gefliegt.
It was hard to get out.
Yeah, but she did it, and he came out. He never talked about his days in Dachau. We still have the postcards from the concentration camp.
How long was he in Dachau?
I guess from November till they left, 2 months or so.
November what year?
38.
Before the war started.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We were very lucky.
Was he in work camp? Was he put to work at life
He
in
never
Dachau?
talked about Dachau.
That he didn't talk about?
No.
And how long was he in Dachau? I didn't get
I guess from 2 months or so.
Oh, a short time.
A short time. And in those days, if you had or showed that you would leave the country, they would let you out of the concentration camp. So he's one of the lucky ones.
Lucky one, because
Yep.
it was not easy.
He has a number on his arm.
He was tattooed.
Yeah.
Oh. Does he have it now?
And
And not
no,
Eric,
I
his
know.
father. His father. Eric was never in a concentration camp. Eric was already gone.
I'm getting mixed up then. Okay.
Eric left early enough for Switzerland with his knapsack and skis. That's the way he crossed the Alps. And there they were picked up by the police, and they put them in a Jewish camp.
Gendarmes.
They had a camp for refugees. But a good camp with food and everything. Not like Shanghai camp.
Wow, you're lucky. Well, in the Shanghai camp you had some food, but what, not much?
We had hot soups, hard-boiled eggs,
That's right.
and dry bread.
Like bread, yes.
That was a lot more than a lot of Jews had in other camps.
Camps, exactly.
In Europe.
Exactly.
Where they had like almost nothing.
Yeah.
So
And
in Dachau, who was
He
in
doesn't
Dachau?
know that. His dad,
It was his father.
his father. Leopold Gottlieb. And they come from all the way back, a long history of Gottliebs. I don't remember how far back they go,
Okay.
but
So tell about the
so
town.
where the,
Daddy, was that your grandfather who started the
Judenburg.
town and the store?
that's
was
Judenburg. The town was named Judenburg.
Was that from your grandfather or your great-grandfather?
The great-grandfather was there already.
Tell us a little about that.
Well, Judenburg apparently was they got the name because the first Jews after the Inquisition in Spain, they moved into Austria and formed that town, and they named it Judenburg.
Okay. Hey, that's what we like to hear about.
And I was
what did your grandpa do, Daddy?
had the store, had the store, and there was also an uncle, Adolf Gottlieb, and the whole family was up there.
And that's where the family cemetery is, too.
Exactly, it's the cemetery, and all the Gottliebs are buried there. And as far as I'm concerned, I then started to get a job and learned in a paper store where I was for 3 years. Papierhandlung, what they call Papierhandlung. And then after that, I left Graz, my hometown, and went to Basel, Switzerland. And in Switzerland I worked, and then I also worked for the Kultusgemeinde, the Jewish
like JCC.
like JCC.
Oh. In Switzerland.
In Switzerland, yes, in Basel.
What did you do, Dad?
All kinds of work, whatever job they gave me.
Whatever. You did whatever they gave you.
Exactly. And from there, then I went to...
we talking about this was before the war?
Yes.
Yeah, before the war,
Before the
right.
war.
And then went to Shanghai, China.
Is that where your parents were?
Yep.
Yeah, my parents went to had to go to China, and I went also to China.
And you first, to get there, you went to Marseille, right?
Yes,
Oh, you left
How
from
did you get
Marseille.
from Switzerland to Marseille, Pop?
Marseille, France,
How did you get there?
by train.
Oh.
Did you travel by yourself, alone?
Most of the time, yes. And from there on,
Dangerous to get there?
and not to there were anti-Semitism, but you get by it that you could go. And from there, then I went on to China from Europe
You went on a boat, Dad?
on a boat.
Do you remember which one?
Don't know. No, that I don't know. I forgot that. President Dumais. Yes, I know the name of the boat. President Dumais.
Good for you, Pop.
How long did that trip take?
How long did I go?
Guess 4 weeks.
I think it was several weeks.
4 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 weeks, if I recall. And in Shanghai, China, I started to work again.
How old would you have been then, about that time? This was still before the war.
Sure.
Sure, before,
Right.
yes. I was in my low 20s.
In your 20s.
Yeah. And then I had the chance to... When did I get my calling for the war for China? To get to the army.
That came much later. You worked for the Salt Administration.
I worked for the Salt Administration then here in America.
No, in China, honey. You worked for the Chinese government, the salt
yes. Salt
administration.
administration, yes.
Till
And you learned to speak Chinese? Was that the
Yes,
your-
I had to learn Chinese. Yes. And also helped out in translations where the Germans could not speak the language, and I tried to do it, and were successful in doing that. And then went on to China,
interior of China.
interior of China.
Kunming,
Kunming,
Guilin,
Guilin,
Chongqing.
Chongqing. Saw most of the central China state cities, and worked for the salt administration, which was run by the government. Salt was a very rare item in China. And from then on,
Did you enjoy that work in China?
I beg your pardon,
Did you enjoy working?
I worked in China in the salt administration.
Did you
My
like it?
in my capacity as in engineering for running the railroads which hauled the salt. The salt was hauled by the trains on freight trains. And I
Then you
worked
worked for the
on locomotives, the engineering part of it, repair and communication.
That was a good job.
It was a very good job, yes. Very good.
Good. And how long were you in China before you met Irma?
You were the first year you were there.
Huh?
The first year,
First year,
39.
39. Okay.
And you worked for all the Chinese motor.
Talk louder, please.
The motor places.
The motor places, yes.
Diesel
Engine
Cars.
cars, yes.
Diesel
yes.
cars. You opened up the
Yeah.
various shops.
Shops, yeah. So, but that's it with us.
So the only anti-Semitism, it sounds like, was when you were in Austria,
Yes, not in China.
not in China,
Not in
and
China.
not in Switzerland.
A little.
In Switzerland, to a certain degree, yes.
Okay.
Dad, I think you should tell the story of when you were in the work camp and the guy held a gun on you and told you had to go in, remember, in the frozen water? And you didn't want to go in the water, remember?
Yes.
Oh, let's hear that one.
Why don't you tell Bob that story?
They wanted you to go and
In the camp.
in the camp.
In
When
the
you
camp.
were in Switzerland, they
Yes.
told you have to go in the water.
Water.
It was cold.
Yes.
It was in the middle of winter.
Yes.
And what did you do?
And I refused.
That was pretty gutsy, Dad.
Yes.
That was. They could have shot you for refusing.
Yes. They did. They put me in there, and I was more what you call house arrest. For
You were arrested for
not
disobeying orders.
not publicly arrested, but in a house
You were
where
stuck
I lived
in a home.
in a home
In the
jail,
camp,
I
you
thought.
in
couldn't
the
get
camp.
out.
Couldn't get out
For how long? That
for a punishment. I think it was for several weeks
as a punishment.
as a punishment, and I had to work in there.
How long were you at the camp altogether?
In China,
Not in-
No,
it was not in a
Austria.
camp. It was open.
It was called a camp.
It
but
was
it was not a camp that locked you in.
No.
You could go and come as you pleased.
So you had a little
Some
freedom.
had
You had
Free.
freedom.
Some
Yes,
had
you
jobs.
lived free. Yes.
They came back and stayed there.
So that is my story about China.
Okay, that's a
And
good
then-
story.
When I
No,
came
then
to
came Pearl Harbor,
Pearl Harbor,
and they approached you,
and they approached me,
and you became a
and
civilian.
I became a civilian
with
and was sworn in for America
Into the American
Army.
Army.
Yes, as a civilian. I had the choice to either become a soldier or a civilian. And I said to choose to be a civilian.
Okay.
And
Because I
worked
was
Tell
him.
Bob why.
because
I was.
Yeah.
yeah, because
right.
my wife was, in the meantime, I was married and had my wife. And there was no way where she could go to if I go to China.
You mean if you chose to be in the Army?
And in the army, right. So I was sworn in as a civilian in the United States Army.
Oh, I've
As
not
a
heard that story.
civilian.
Special advisor.
Interesting story.
On one,
Could you speak English at that time?
of course,
Of course, I spoke
You
English.
spoke English and you
Yes.
spoke German?
German, yes.
What other languages? Other languages?
I speak a little French,
English?
but
Germany?
Germany, yeah.
And
Hungarian,
And
Chinese.
Chinese, yes.
Hungarian.
And Hungarian.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Mogę sztuc mojowy.
I didn't get that. What?
Mogę sztuc mojowy. In Hungarian, I also speak Hungarian.
You remember some of these languages
Oh,
now?
yes, I do, of course. Sure.
Well, let's say,
So
just
then,
I'd like to hear, say, it's a beautiful day in Chinese.
Today's 今天是很好，今天是很好。
Good.
Today's beautiful.
Oh, so you remember. Your mind is good.
Oh yeah. And then I got the Medal of Freedom, of course.
How did that happen?
I got that in China for meritorious work for the U.S. Army,
For the Burma Road.
for the Burma Road.
This was, in what year would that be? Or,
I would have to look at my citation
this was during the war, after.
After the war.
After the
This was
war.
after the
Yeah.
war, but you
Yeah.
did this
The
special
work for-
work during the
Work
war.
right there, the work.
And that's
Along the Burma Road.
and that special work and
Engineering.
engineering.
Yeah. Mostly train and
Cars.
cars and general work, engineering
Diesel,
work,
diesel.
diesel work
Where did you get your engineering background?
in Austria.
In Austria when you were in school. And when you were in school, you experienced some anti-Semitism?
To some degree, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Let's backtrack. Your children, your siblings, brothers,
Yeah, my older brother Herbert, he was also in Europe during the war.
any other family? You have a sister?
He was, of course, he was in France.
That was
Herbert.
before the war.
That was before the war. What did he do?
And he was in Spain.
In Spain. My brother was in Spain.
You had one brother, any sisters?
One brother, yeah.
No sisters?
No sisters, no.
So it was just your
the-
two boys?
Yeah, right.
Sister died. and
The
one
sister
brother
died a long time ago. That is my story. And then I
Okay.
got the Medal of Freedom from President Truman
President Truman. Where was that
for
presented to you?
meritorious work.
It
Where
was
did you receive that?
presented
Presented
in
by
Chicago.
in Chicago.
It was presented to you in Chicago?
Yeah, by the
Oh, okay.
general who was
No, the Fifth Army
Fifth Army general.
came to General
General
Motors to
Motors, yeah,
LaGrange.
to LaGrange, yeah. That's my
I
story.
think it's
That's my story.
very precious. It's,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a real honor.
yeah. It is. It was. Yeah. It
So that was presented to you in Chicago.
in Chicago. Yes.
Luncheon at General Motors with all the guys
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. All the big shots. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Then I guess the rest of the story is that you left China, you were married, and you came to America.
To America, yes.
And you landed in where did you land? You came to America by boat
By boat, yes. Yes.
with your
Francisco.
wife, and daughter.
San Francisco.
San Francisco, yes.
That was also a story.
Yes.
What, the
To
on
my-
the trip on the
You
boat?
bought the ticket first class, and we were separated. It was a troop ship.
Oh, it was a troop ship.
Yeah, and we were only our food. We only had our dinners together.
Together.
Otherwise, we had to sleep. I had to sleep with all the women, and
No,
he
it-
slept with all the men. Oh, what a mess!
Well, didn't you have your daughter? At that
Yeah, what a mess with the little one.
Where did she sleep?
She slept with me
You.
in the same bed.
Evelyn. Yeah, Evelyn.
Same bed on the boat.
Yeah.
Well, tell
Where-
about the trip, because that was apparently a horrendous trip.
Oh, we left. Our first stop was Manila, and then we crossed over to Hawaii. In Hawaii, we got off the ship. Oof! And they there's a lot of music, and Evelyn stood in her little carriage, and she was like conducting. She waved
Oh,
with
that's
her hands,
Hey,
and
that's
everybody applauded. The little one was making the listen to the music. Getting off the ship, they gave us a lay, and we
This was
saw
what, 1948?
the 47.
47, okay.
And there we saw our first supermarket. And I couldn't believe what a supermarket looks like. I couldn't get over the display of the fruit, of the meat, of just plain everything. And I figured, boy, if this is America, it's really the in America.
I still can't get over it. Even right now, even the variety of things they sell.
It's still
And the choices
fantastic.
you have, all kinds of choices.
The
Amazing.
only thing that shocked me in Chicago when
Where did
they
you land before you came to Chicago?
in San Francisco,
Oh, you
and by
landed in-
train from San Francisco to Chicago. That was a long train ride too.
Wow. I'll
With
bet it was.
Evelyn, yes,
Was that the Santa Fe train?
yes, yes.
Okay.
It was beautiful, only we didn't realize it. All we wanted to get to one place and stop and don't travel.
How did you happen
Too
to...
hard. It was too hard to go with a little child.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But one thing, we had diapers that you could throw away. That was unheard of.
Throwaway diapers. That is funny. How did you happen to choose Chicago?
We had a friend, and during the war he was a GI, and his mother got us, if she would send us things for the baby and for me, and we sent things, Chinese things, to them. We didn't take anything for nothing. And So when they said we should come to Chicago and we'll go from there. And they were Gentile, good Catholics, and their friends always were Jews. And we thought that through them, or they thought that through them, we would find help, and a big, big, big disappointment when we met them first. First of all, they were all, the first time we met the Jewish so-called friends, they all played cards. They said, hello, fine, good you are here. And that was the end of it. So Eric and I, we went our own way.
That was disappointing.
That was very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. So we stayed with this family. We rented there. And later on, we went to the Jewish family service, which was also a disappointment. We thought we didn't need help money-wise, but we needed help in telling us where to go or find a place, and we didn't get this. Just by sheer accident, we ran across or met there a Jewish family, a Russian Jews, and they rented us partly their apartment because during the summer they were out in the dunes. And so their apartment was ready, and we stayed there, and we figured there's time enough for us to find our own place. And we bought a little house in Austin on Parkside Avenue. That's little off Chicago Avenue, if you remember, in Austin.
I've heard of it. I don't remember even being there.
So
I've heard of it.
the west Chicago.
West Side.
Yeah. And we bought the little house, and we didn't know anything about mortgage or things like that. And the lady who sold us the house, she said, I trust you. You bring me every month the payment, and we'll get by. And over the years, we learned how dangerous. If you keep missing one payment, you lose your house. Well, in the meantime, we got smarter, or learned things about a mortgage. So we got a mortgage, and the lady by then was happy that everything turned out. So we had a house with a mortgage. Our children went to school in Austin at the beginning, and then we moved to Oak Park. There was a bigger house.
Not too many Jewish families there.
In Austin, no. There was also another disappointment.
What's that? What
The
happened?
disappointment was we wanted to belong to a temple. And, in the meantime, my parents had arrived from China, and they stayed with us. The rabbi that we were supposed to meet or join made such a remark, "Oh, German Jew." And that's all I had to hear. That was it. We never joined the temple there. But in Oak Park, we joined the temple right away because they had just broken ground for the temple. So we grew up with the temple, and we had an interview with the rabbi, and he said we want young couples with young children, and to him it didn't make a difference if I had an accent or not.
Or where you were born, right?
Not at all.
That's wonderful.
And our
That's a good
children
story.
were very happy at the temple, and both of them were active in the temple with their youth groups. So that was a good time. Oak Park was a good time.
Was that a very large congregation in
Yeah.
that temple?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Oak Park?
Yeah.
Wow.
They had two temples, one conservative and one reform.
And you were in the conservative one.
Yes, yes. Our girls were confirmed there, not bar mitzvah, but confirmed, in a temple which was wonderful. We just have really great memories of, good memories.
That is good to hear. Yes.
But before that, I had lost my dad. He passed away. He had lung cancer.
Wait, who was that?
My father.
Oh, your father. When did
He worked for Sears and Roebuck. Actually, I can't remember the company that he worked, but it was part of Sears and Roebuck. And they were very, very good to my mother after he passed away. They were.
That's a very good company.
And
Yeah.
all along, during all his illness, they were really treated him very well. Nothing to
How
be
long
said.
did he work for Sears?
He was there 4 years. And my dad always wanted to become an American citizen, but he didn't make it. He had the papers filled, and he died the day he wanted to mail them.
Oh, what
But
time?
I learned things later on, that if somebody is very ill and you asked your congressman, you would get the citizenship. Where my mother later on became an American citizen.
When did your father die?
In 1954,
And your mother?
1964.
10 years later. Well, that's quite a story.
Oh, yeah. In Chicago, Eric, that actually goes for Eric. Eric met his old friend from Graz, which was his boyfriend in his youth.
Where, from Austria?
In Chicago, from Austria, and they all met in Chicago, which was wonderful. I was a newcomer, and they suddenly were all together Austrians.
Wow.
And I was a German. So we always laughed about that. And actually the friendship lasted till now, till a few years ago, one after the other passed away. So these friendships were real good and long.
But you had good friends.
Oh my goodness, yes. And I still have one girlfriend in Austria, in Sydney. We had
In Australia.
in
Australia.
Sydney, Australia. Yeah. I'm still in touch. We call each other every few months. And I have another friend in Germany. They are Gentile. They found us. They come from the same little village that I was born in. And they found us. They thought we had perished. And through the Jewish paper, which was called the Aufbau, they looked for us. We answered the ad, and from then on, we kept our old friendship. And in fact, actually very sad, 3 days ago, the son of my friend called me and said the mother passed away.
Oh.
But it shows we kept
Kept in touch.
yeah, and they are Gentile, and this was, of course, way afterwards.
How about Jewish friends that you had in Germany?
I don't have any.
Not-
They all gone. They all perished.
They all died. Murdered. Wow.
So, I guess we are the lucky ones. We can talk
Yes,
about it,
yes.
make fun, and laugh.
I think it's wonderful to be able to laugh a little. Laugh a little and cry a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cry I don't want because I have no reason.
Well, you were fortunate.
I am one of the lucky ones. Lucky again, I have a wonderful family. 2 fantastic girls, daughters, 2 lovely son-in-laws, and 2 grandchildren. And now a great-grandchild.
Oh, that's to be thankful for.
Yes, I am.
And more happy years to look forward to.
I sure hope.
And you've been
I
married.
cannot leave this world because my drawers aren't cleaned up. It'll be a mess, so I have to straighten that out first.
That's on your list of things to do.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I guess we're done.
You know, the Medal of Freedom is the highest civilian award.
I think that is. I missed getting you on that one.
Oh, you know. Do you remember See Here Hargrove?
Say, wait,
Here
say- Eric, say that again. The Medal of Freedom.
Is the highest.
I think I'm missing it. Okay. One more time. Tell me about the Medal. Oh, Medal of Freedom. Say that again. Your medal.
The Medal of Freedom
Is
is the highest civilian award by the United States Army.
By the government.
I hope I got
Something
that.
came
That's
to my mind. You remember the book See Here Private Hargrove?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember. Huh?
All right. Hargrove was in China, and we met him. And I said, "Are you the Hargrove?" And he said to me, "What do you know about it?" I said, "Well, I just read a condensation of See Here Private Hargrove." And he said, "Well, that's me." And for many years, well, we had a good time with him. He was wrote for the paper, the army paper. I can't recall the name right now. But we had a good time together. We went with him. He is a good Catholic, was a good Catholic. And we introduced him to our friends who were the fathers and the convents, the sisters, the nuns. And with him, it was Christmas time. And with him, I went to midnight mass. I had never in my life been in a Catholic service or church.
Yeah.
And this was midnight mass with